Welcome to Bethany TV for Health. My name is Dorothy, and today it is a beautiful Saturday. We are discussing about something that everyone should, have an ear or eyes to watch out and get information from the right source. Dorothy Ainembabas is my name. Today I do have Dr. Kamanda Matia Bagubye, all the way from St. Peter's Hospital, Chanja. He's a medical doctor, not a counselor, not a what, a medical doctor. And today we'll be discussing about diabetes and nutrition. It is important to know we have diabetes, yes, but what is the right food to eat? Welcome to the show, doctor.
Oh, thank you so much, Dorothy.
I believe it's your first time.
Yes, my first time to be here.
But you've heard about us.
Yeah, I've heard about you.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Dorothy.
How has been your day?
My day has been so good. God is faithful.
Okay.
Yes.
Apart from the potholes, is there any other issue that is affecting you?
No.
Not yet. So today we are discussing about diabetes and nutrition. Briefly tell us a bit of that, because we have discussed about diabetes. We don't diabetes. Explain to us what diabetes are, and we can tackle in with the nutrition part as well.
Okay, this is a very, very good topic to discuss about, and I want to thank you so much, because the rate at which people are getting diabetic is increasing.
Yes.
Every single day we have newly diagnosed patients with diabetes. There are people that live with diabetes and don't know.
Okay.
There are youth that get diabetes and stay with it. There are children, babies that have diabetes. Though people used to think diabetes is for only older people. Yeah. Today things have changed, and as the world changes, disease gets to every person. Every person has to be really, really careful. Diabetes is really very dangerous disease, because so many complications will rise from it, and it will take someone's life at a very terrific speed. So diabetes is a disease that affects the human body, and the way it affects the human body is you can't control your insulin levels. Insulin is a hormone produced by the body, and the purpose of insulin is to regulate sugar levels. So if someone cannot regulate their sugar levels properly, either by having less insulin being produced by the pancreas, or the body being insufficient in responding to the insulin produced, so this person will get diabetes. So it is two-way. You either have less insulin being produced by your body, that the body doesn't get enough insulin, that it will not be able to reduce the much sugar levels, or you have enough insulin being produced by the pancreas, but it is not effective within the body. And the factors may be peripheral resistance. The cells do not respond to the insulin being produced. So shortly, that is what we may call diabetes. The people call it sukari. So usually the problem is the determinant factor there is insulin. If we have less insulin being produced, or if the insulin we are producing is not responded too well by the body, that's what we call diabetes.
Okay.
And it can affect any age group. It can affect any sex. People from any tribe or any area can be affected by diabetes.
It affects Baganda,
and it is not a disease of the rich. Even poor people get.
I thought it was for the rich.
People get diabetes. Even if you're small, you can get diabetes. Even if you're heavyweight, you have a big size, you can get diabetes.
Yes.
So some people say, oh, you are big, you're getting fat, you're going to get diabetes. I'm small, I can't get diabetes. No. When we understand the physiology and the pathology of diabetes, then we know everyone can get diabetes.
Okay.
So we don't just look at somebody's age or size and then say this person can have diabetes or not. Yeah. So shortly, that's what diabetes is.
Okay. Now that we're talking about nutrition, diabetes and nutrition, what role does nutrition play in diabetes?
First of all, diabetes is a metabolic disease.
What do you mean by metabolic?
It is as a result of body functionality or processes of the body. So that's what brings about diabetes. So it is related to more of nutrition, what someone eats, that result into maybe being diabetic or not being diabetic, and not irrespective of whether the person has insulin or not. Yes. So usually what happens, if we want really to understand that nutrition is very, very important, we should first understand another dependent factor that brings about insulin, which is glucose levels. And we can trace from where glucose gets in the body, and then we shall be able to understand why nutrition is very, very important. So there are kind of foods that we eat which act as sources of glucose in the body, mainly carbohydrates, flour, maize. You can talk about wheat. You can talk about wheat. Yeah. You can talk about, in local food, you can talk about cassava. Which other foods there? All these foods have starch in them. So once we eat them, the body has to break down. In the mouth, we studied our little digestion in secondary level, in primary level.
Yes.
Yeah, when you eat starch in the body, there are salivary amylase, which is going to break down the starch into maltose.
Yes.
And then from there, you're going to swallow the bolus into the stomach, where there is no digestion of protein, there is no digestion of starch because it is acidic. So we push it to the smaller intestines, to the duodenum, part of the small intestine, where we have further breaking down of the maltose into other components. So we go to break down from the different types of glucose. We have the fructose, we have the sucrose, and then we have the glucose itself, the building block, then starch. So we want to break down to the smallest unit. So when we go to the small intestine, we break down to the smallest unit, which is glucose. So you have to break down glucose into fructose, glucose into galactose. Those are the building blocks of different types of glucoses. So once we break down into the small values, we get to break down to the last one, which is glucose. So it is taken up by the body. Remember, we have studied from what a person has eaten, which has starch in it, which has to be broken down to produce glucose levels. Yeah, so then the body takes in the glucose to the liver, where it is used to produce energy. So the main advantage of glucose is the body breaks it down to produce ATP, which is the energy the body uses to do different kind of activities. Yeah, so that is the main advantage of glucose. So when we go in the liver, we break down the glucose, and when we break down the glucose, if you want to produce energy, then we take it through a process which is going to produce ATP. Then that one is completely exhausted, and in that process we need oxygen to break it down, produce energy and water. Then there is the other process where if we have enough glucose within the body, we need to keep what the excess, so the body will change it into glycogen and store it into the muscle cells. Where
today is science, doctor.
Because if we understand this, then we can even understand the treatments, the different drugs we use in treatment of diabetes.
Very true.
You now understand why a certain drug is given, where does it target, because that's why different drugs are given. There are drugs that are given to slow down the action of breaking down of glucose in the small intestines. That's why I'm going very slow. There are drugs that are given, diabetic drugs, which go into the liver to cut down the further processing or producing more glucose.
Because they say that more glucose, it's also bad.
Yeah.
So it has to be moderate.
Yeah, it has to be moderate on a person who has already problem with their pancreas, not on a normal person. If someone is normal, they can take as more glucose as they wish in the body, because they have enough insulin to break down all this glucose either into glycogen or to use it for energy. So that's why highly active people or muscular people will need more glucose in their body, because they need to produce a lot of energy. Then we can store some in muscles as glycogen, whereby if we don't have enough in the body, we are going to go to the source or in the power store to change the glycogen back into glucose, then the body can use it. So this is the entire process. Now, the insulin we spoke about is very, very important. After the liver sends glucose now into circulation, glucose is going to the entire body. We have parameters that begin to detect that, hey, the glucose has shot beyond the normal that we need in the body. So they call the caretaker, that is the pancreas, hey, we have a short of a lot of glucose. So the pancreas will say, no, I have a solution. Let's send Mr. Insulin to make sure all this glucose is taken into the cells and we have normal glucose. Take it back to the normal level. You understand? So they instruct Mr. Insulin from the pancreas to go into the system. The advantage of the insulin is we want to get all of the glucose which is loitering around, take it into the cell to be used by the body. In doing so, we want to reduce the levels of glucose within the body. So this is the importance of Mr. Insulin
in the body.
Mr. Insulin in the body. He has to imprison all the glucose into the cell. Come in, get out, until the level is reached. Once we reach the normal level, we stop producing more insulin. So we are in a normal situations. And once the levels go really low, that is hypoglycemia, then we are going to find a way of refilling again this glucose. Glucose. So we go to the store that I told you about, glycogen, bring it out. There are other processes that the body can do to produce glucose into the body so that we can use it within the body. So that is the system that makes people sick, and that's where disease comes from. Yeah. So that is the physiology. Yes. So once you have a problem with insulin, you know now where it comes from. He cannot reduce enough glucose in the system and put it into the cell to be used by the body. If it is not enough, we're going to put in what we can. We are overwhelmed. We are going to have more in the system. Now that's going to take us to the complications or the signs and symptoms that a person will have when they have diabetes. You see? You see why I want always to explain? I'm answering everything in a process so a person can understand why this happens. Now, when someone has a lot of glucose in the body, one, they're going to become thirsty. Why? There is a lot of sugar within the body, so the body wants to make sure it dilutes the sugar there. Yes, so there is a term I will not use because I want people to understand. So what we do, we force you to take a lot of what? Water. Lot of water. So this person thirsts a lot, in that he can just go on and reduce the lot of glucose or dilute the blood so that it may not be intense. In doing that, someone is going to get headache. That's why these people have a lot of headache usually. Yes, because it's going to have a lot of thirstiness, and so it results into headache. Now another system will also come up. Hey, we have a lot of glucose now, we need to find a way we can store it, and insulin has failed to take it out. No, we need to find other ways of reducing these sugar levels because it's going to be very dangerous to us. Some people begin to urinate urine which has sub-glucose molecules in them. Why? We are finding a way of reducing. Now, when we have many glucose, we can turn it into other different things in the body. Okay. Yeah, so we begin to form more cholesterol levels. You see how people get heart diseases? You see how diabetes is related to hypertension, why it is related to stroke, heart failure. Now we are going to begin to turn the extra glucose that we have into other processes to make sure it is reduced, and by doing that we are producing other compounds which are going to be actually dangerous to our body. So we're going to have a lot of glucose, a lot of cholesterol, and this is what's going to happen. Cholesterol is going to be everywhere in the body. How does cholesterol come in? There are medications we have that can stop cholesterol. It is also another drug we use in treatment of diabetes that's going to reduce the level of lipids in the body or cholesterol in the body. So we have now cholesterol being produced. It is going to go into the nervous system. So we're going to have what we call neuropathies, problems with the nervous system. Why? There are a lot of glucose we are having. We want to reduce it from the body. What can we do? We have put some inside and the body cannot use it in a normal way. So we need to put it to another use so that we reduce it. Our main goal is to make sure it is reduced. First day, it may be a very good turn up to reduce it, but along the way, 5 years, 2 years, we're going to be having more of cholesterol in the body. So it goes to the eyes, in the optic nerves. This person can't see very well. We go to another complication. It affects the body one by one. You see how it's going to affect the entire body. Remember, the kidneys already are already producing, they are already reducing. We are already seeing glucose molecules, globular. So the nephrons are dying out. Now that's another complication of diabetes called neuropathy. Why? The glucose is affecting the what? The kidneys. You see why many people with diabetes have kidney failures? That's why I want to explain things in a process. You understand? From the food we are eating, now we see if the pancreas failed, you see where we are going. All the complications come about. Yes. So this person, after a long period of time, maybe on treatment, maybe doesn't want to take treatment, or he's resistant to the treatment, to the drugs. We are going to have now heart diseases. Why the heart diseases? We are having cholesterol levels being produced by the what? From glucose. You see how it's going? So the heart is going to have a lot of diseases and issues. So this person is going to get up with hypertension. So that's why most of the people that have diabetes end up having hypertension. And most people ask, how does it come about that after a long period of time with having diabetes you get this? Why is it that people who have diabetes get into stroke? I've explained to you how it is going to be to bother the nervous system. Yes. So that's how dangerous diabetes is. In fact, in medicine, diabetes is called ISS. It is also an immune suppressant, the way you see HIV. So if someone has diabetes, they have a low immune system. I've showed you why. Yes. So that's how a person gets totally broken down by diabetes. But the treatment is there that someone can usually take and be well. So the complications, we have the macro. The macro affect the big blood vessels in the body. So you get heart attack, you get stroke, you have hypertension, left hypertrophy, many diseases coming. Then micro, you get problems with the eyes, problems with the nervous system, problems with the kidney. Yeah, usually those are the things that happen if someone has diabetes. So it is really very good for someone to monitor how they feed when they are diabetic, because we want at least to help the body by not putting in a lot that it can process. Moderate, that the insulin can work upon. Yes. So we have three ways how we are consuming glucose. One, we are using it as we do our daily work. Yes, but we may not be able to use a lot. We may be able to use less. That's why if someone is diabetic, regular exercise, physical exercise is a must. Do you know why? We want to be using this glucose by the body. So in other words, we are reducing glucose by making the muscles work more, so that we consume this. So the daily activities, I am reducing the glucose inside. How? I am making my muscles use the glucose. As the muscles use the glucose, I'm helping it to reduce it. So most people ask, doctor, why the daily exercise? It is hectic. If you explain this to a client, he knows each time I go to exercise, as I run, I am pulling out glucose from the system and putting it within the cell to combust it into energy. So I should be on a daily physical exercise. Someone can live really healthy if they have diabetes and they are health conscious, and they will live forever. For a really long period of time without any complications.
Well, you're still watching Health and Wellness. The doctor has spoken for an hour. If you've not written a book to write, since again, because diabetes is it's a disease or a disorder that people have not paid attention to. But they don't know that they're affecting the other, systems in the body. So by you treating this one, before you know it, you have kidney failure, you have heart disease, and you have a stroke, because the doctors didn't take you through something that you've just discussed, which is really bad. Lack of information.
Yes.
And that's why Bethany TV is always there to bring you such experts to explain. What we're talking about today is diabetes and nutrition. Why is it important? You can't be having diabetes. No. We can manage and live a healthy life. Now that you've talked about working out, the steps, how glucose should be important to our body, which plans can we have during with what planning a dietary for the diabetic patients? Do they have to plan for their meals? And what are those plans?
When someone is newly diagnosed, we really want to make sure that this person understands, first of all, the disease that is affecting them, and what complications are they going to face if they are not treated very well. How they are going to go about it is now becoming the next step that we are going to go on with the patient. First, patient understanding their disease. I have had so many patients that come in a clinic, then you speak to them about their condition, but because they have not understood the risk they are on, he'll go on and live his life recklessly. Then when they come in, they are bad off and they're regretting. I'm going to give a story before I go deep. In our home where I grew up from, there is a gentleman that I used to treat, and I treated him for around 5 years. And he got diabetes and his life was really doing really bad. I advised him. Now, after some time, because he had been with diabetes for almost 30 years. He got tired of taking the
medication. Yes, yes.
So I continuously advised him, hey, sir, this will happen to you. Please go on with the treatment. Take everything well. He was around and 65. So he got tired of treatment. I said, I have lived longer. But signs began to come. He got a liver, he got a kidney failure, and we advised him. After doing LFTs, we advised him, and he didn't listen. We gave him the treatment, he could throw it home. And the moment, as you calculate, at this period of time, Mr. Sunday would have fished. He was also there to tell you, hey, my treatment's over. Yet he was keeping in the house. One time he gets a heart failure, and people have to carry him out of his house. This is when people see all the treatment this guy has been using. So they call me and I speak to this guy. After 2 days, this guy got a stroke, and it didn't last like 2 months. He passed on. So I really got a bad experience from that gentleman. That's why I usually want to give more education to people
about diabetes.
Yes, and not to give up on their lives, because you can live even up to 80 years with your diabetes. We have understood how glucose gets in the body and how terrible it is if it is not controlled very well. Now, one of the things we must always realize that we must reduce is food that have calories in it, mainly starchy food.
Examples?
You have to look at kawunga, posho.
Schools are still giving us posho.
Starch. Students, if a student is exposed and has diabetes, he will be advised at school, and they give them a special meal. If they can't understand your child, let your child desk call. Let your child come from home with their food, because there is a lady I know. She has a girl who is diabetic 10 years, and the girl was tired of taking diabetic drugs. So they came to me for supplementation and how she can live healthy, and she's traumatized. I'm tired of taking drugs, and the children, the fellow kids at school were making fun of her. She's taking drugs. So that kind. I told the mom, no, let the child desk call, change her the school, and let people don't know she's diabetic. You drop her in the morning, let her carry her food, and let her keep it separate to herself. So we know that we need to reduce foods that have starch in them. Posho, wheat, things that have a lot of wheat in them. Chapati, bindas. Fruits that are sugary, you have to reduce them.
Pineapples,
mangoes, passion fruits, the things that have a lot of sugar, please reduce them. The normal sugar that we serve on table, you can reduce it. If you've been taking 3 spoons, you can take half a spoon in a cup. If you've been taking 3 times a day, you can take it once, and reduce the rate at which you're taking in the sugars. Sometimes I advise people to go to maybe honey and reduce to at least a less portion of it again, but be on water. There are people that don't take sugar naturally. Take water. Let it not be a psychological problem that they refuse me to take this because I'm sick. This is one thing I found with patients. They are stopping me to take this because I'm sick, and it traumatizes them. Be free with it, accept it, and live a normal life.
Embrace it. Thank you so much, Doctor. We are going to take a very short commercial break, and we'll be back. Welcome back from that short commercial break. Health and Wellness airs every Saturday from 8 to 9 p.m. And today I do have Dr. Kabanda Matia, a medical doctor. But I think you should add stroke teacher. Because today you're teaching us new things.
Every doctor is a teacher.
Every doctor is a teacher?
Yes.
There are some who are practical.
No, every doctor
is a teacher. Yeah. Well, today we're talking about diabetes and nutrition. If you've missed the first segment, please, Sunday at midday, tune in and you will watch everything that you know you've missed. Or you can watch on our YouTube channel, Bethany TV UG. Okay. So, Doctor, before we went for a commercial break, we're talking about the foods to avoid. Portion, starch foods.
Starchy foods.
Portion,
fruits that are sugary. The normal sugar we are taking at home.
The normal sugar we're taking at home. It's okay to start taking hot water, lukewarm water. It is okay. Tumwe kubagiza nyombo. Mna musawo yanzija kusukali.
Kasukali kange kali kampombe.
Ne Dr. Kasukali kakawuma.
Kasobola okuviikako. Kubanga bw'obalaba balamu bibye twogeddeko emabega n'okatuniyako bw'oti n'olaba ali ng'ogenda kufuna stroke n'olaba ng'ogenda kufuna hypertension n'olaba ng'ogenda kidini egenda failinga n'ovisitingako diabetic clinic
n'olaba ku balwadde
banno banno
okata
nga kasukaali ke kagenda okutwala obulamu maama oyinza n'okukagoba n'oddalamu nakasemberera
kabiyanga tukwogerako akantu ako ng'abantu tebagala kavaako. It is
also some other thing kuba alukoko abamuko alina glucose mungi naddala kati bia because of the yeast. So for most people that take a lot of alcohol have these fat bellies. Dr.
Some of us have fat bellies, but we don't do those
there things. Are those, but there are these people I'm talking about.
Oh,
and they are very, very
we have
proud.
seen them.
They are very proud.
So one of them is also alcohol. Is also
alcohol,
bad.
Yeah, it should be really limited. Really, someone is taking is diabetic or is on diabetic drugs. At least take one bottle in a while. Yeah, reduce it completely. Yeah, because I'm more responsible for someone's psychology as I treat them.
Okay.
That the treatment you're giving to someone should not impact another psychological problem to them. That hey, my life is limited to certain things, and that is very, very important.
Very true.
That's why there are some patients that tell me, hey doctor, nze nkyali kuchupa zange 3 naye nkyalwana zijja ku 2. I'm happy with that guy. Ne mugamba kati sigalayo ku 2 kunya naye kati tuyingire 3. Kiraba omuntu n'abeera wa mazima gy'oli naga hey doctor kasukali kakyampoomera naye nyakakona eno wiiki kyatabuseeko uno mwezi gonywedde mungi ne pate mbadde nyingi. So today my mode of treatment especially is a friendly treatment.
That's nice.
That someone to I want someone to be free with me. Nanga doctor na wika sukali kampomedde nywedde bibia tubadde munyegenyege tubadde wa but I have had some fun. So someone comes back and goes, ngeri kati kyobadde olyamu katugenda kukyusamuko ka plan osobola okujjamu ebibaddemu kati. Following. So that's why in our treatment plan in St. Peter's Chanja is make sure a patient understands.
Let
the patient know why I'm not taking sugar, why I'm not taking this, why I'm not taking rice, why am I reducing this. The comrade amanyi bwakimanya jakubera musawo we nga buli wakali amanya ye kati kagenda kunkola not next system. Someone can next you go buy this medicine and go home. Someone else don't want to explain to you. So we have what we call a diabetic plate. And this is a design that gives a person how they must feed. But again, I don't want to just put it on a person as a point of struggle or as a point of hardship for them. So in that plate, we divide a normal plate in 4 portions.
Okay. Producer so to a plate in
a portion form where we have refugees taking the biggest part.
Okay. Refugees
dodo, nakati, kabeji, buga, webityo to be wa portion esingo munene ku mmere eno kubanga byo tebina starch mungi tebigenda kutuwa buzibu. So omuntu asobola okubirya najjuzaawo ekisawo wali bw'olya refugees nga mungi waliwo kati bino ebyabazungu bebera mu woteri ebibeera nga kabeji ekinene ekyo isukuma wiki wobiri ebyo bikukusa kati ensonga lwaki tuteekako nnyo refugees nga nyingi omuntu asobola okubeera satisfied mu kulya naye nga atali satisfied n'ekintu ekitagenda ku affecting kutwongera glucose levels. Awo ne tuteekawo fruits nga side neneko
fruits
tusobola okuteekako ka apple kaffe, tusobola okuteekako blackberries zaffe, tusobola okuteekako emiyembe gyaffe naye nga togenda kulya mingi nnyo tusobola okubeera ne plate bwetyo non-vegetable starch vegetables wano ze tulina okulya ennyo sukuma wiki biki nyaanya biki ebyo kyovula mbagala nnyo babeere nnyo ze tuyita kacumbaali era abasinga ba patient kumakya bamusalewo kachumbali ko butungulu ennyanya na biki naalya namayoncho olunaku katuka protein yako ne kabeerako wali eri nga katono but mainly tusobola ogenda ku fish mainly fish kuba it is white meat nzo okutaba nnyo na proteins nyingi okuleeta buzibu fish kati nabanga wali aliawo fish bile bisigadde ebina carbohydrates bina kubeera nga bitono ddala macaroni migati katono akaceere katono tutegedde obuzibu bwaffe twetaaga glucose muki mutini proteins ziri ze health giving food tukyambako okuzimba building blocks mubiri tuziteekako naye si nnyo lwaki kuba nazo oluusi omubiri gusobola ozikyusa netufunamu glucose naye tutera issues endala so twetaaga diabetic plate kaffe nga kalungi bwe katyo omuntu asobola okulya nga tulya glucose sikubivaako kuba mubiri ate gumwetaaga naye okulya akakatini twekeeping in normal all the patients that have adopted the system of feeding on taking caution of this live a healthy life natuka n'ekiseera neyeerabira nti ali diabetic eri abamu natuka n'ekiseera nga you reduce the dosages to the minimum natuka n'ekiseera n'omugamba naye eddagala lyonna kati sooka oliveekoko tubeere ng'omireyo lwe tulaba sugar levels zikoze ki zishuutinze that's why a treatment of diabetes is dependent on the client and their doctor and during that period of time what has happened to your body and how do we plan so sichikwate that's why a person should always visit a diabetic clinic always to talk to their doctor it should not be echikwate things change and your body change kati olina okubanga okomawo netudesigninga plan empya netukomawo designinga plan empya kuba tosobola okukikola at introducing sugar levels to dropping not hypoglycemia, which is also possible. So that is the plate that someone must always have. Yes, very expensive, but it is easy. Don't know what I see. Okay. Lukumi bbiri n'okifumba ewaka kidodo kyo n'okitokosa n'okiteeka wali ebbali n'olyayo akacereko katini n'oteekako oba olidde mugaatigo ne proteins wali eri in fact healthy foods is very cheap than what people go for mu bifo ebyebbeeyi bakuleetedde ebintu mayonnaise biki osobola n'okukyala ewa omukyala muganzi nja kunfupira emmere yange nga it is cheaper to feed well lwakuba nti bwe baba bakiwulidde okuva ew'omusawo their mind tell them musawo kyabagamba ekiba kyaki kiba kya bbeeyi nakumalako mirembe ne bw'okitula wansi n'okitegeera dodo osobola n'omulimu ewakaawo mu bibaafu sukuma wiki n'omulimu ewaka mu bibaafu ennyanya n'ozirima ewaka ng'ova ewaka n'ofuuyirako ne bagamba nti sukuma wiki kya maama ennyanya za maama nga zibaali mu nnimiro yo ng'ozirimye and many diabetic people have gardens at home mwe beekera ebintu byabwe bye balya n'ojjayo ng'ogula bitono and you feed very well. This is not only for diabetic patients but also for a normal person. If you have this caliber of feeding in your life, you're going to live a healthy life. So this is very good. You spoke about time of feeding. I always prefer that people should always feed at the same time. Bw'ozukuse ku makya waliwo eddagala ly'omira before meals and there are some treatment to take after meals. By at least 8 to 9 have your good breakfast. Nga katulebe kano ka plate kafe tetulinda saawa 5 ate bwe ziba saawa 3 zibeere saawa meka 3 omubiri gukimanyiire nga bw'omira n'eddagala lyo ku biseera ebisinga eddagala lya diabetes litambula era mu kaseera kakamu kooliramu n'okumira eddagala lyo ekiro osobola okulya dinayo ku saawa nga 12 oba emu wotuukira okwebaka saawa nga 3 oba 4 ng'omubiri gumaze digesting emmere eno kati ogenda kuwummula nga mmere nga tolina mmere mu mubiri webake ekimala omubiri gusobola okukozesa glucose alimu bulungi ogenda ozuukuka nga otandika olunaku lupya. So in other words omuntu alina diabetes alina okuba nga buli mmere gyalya buli lunaku omubiri gugikozesa tatereka kubanga ebiseera ebisinga kyovula abamu bafuna obesity kubange bagenda kwa bastoringa glucose meri process yena gambye kati bayinza okugamba tumutereke ne batereka then you bulge out and losing that weight will be a problem.
It's a struggle.
So very, very good thing to always visit a hospital, do the liver and renal functional tests. Very, very important. Do check for the eyes. Go to an optician and check your eyes. They're doing well. Then check your legs and feet for diabetic foots. Very, very dangerous. I have seen terrible diabetic foots. Terrible diabetic foots.
Pregnant mothers suffer that as well.
So someone can actually get amputated, and the amputation will produce a psychological torture to them. Remember, they are diabetic, so someone will completely break down because they're having amputations. I've seen people get serious sepsis because of diabetic food. So if you're diabetic, be conscious about how you respond to healing when you have a wound, and treat yourself very well for respond very well to your treatment. At St. Peter's Hospital Chanja, we have a diabetic clinic running, and the doctors are always waiting. We are always there to help you. You can always come to St. Peter's Chanja. We can always help you. We can do the liver function tests for you. We are fully equipped. We can do all these tests in a facility that we can help you. You can always find me there. Let's discuss. Let me become your friend. Let me become a health partner with you to help you in your health. Let us be friends. Let me be the person you come and talk to when you feel it is very, very hard for you. Someone diabetic must always control their stress or their emotional capacity. Is really, really important to them, because there is a different parameter that the body takes when you get stressed up.
Really?
Yes. And if you get stressed and you are diabetic, it's going to become the worst for you, because that parameter is also attached to glucose. There is a hormone called cortisol. If it comes in play, you are diabetic, and then you are stressed up. It's going to quicken up the rate at which you are going to get the other complications we spoke about. Yes, and I always like to keep that discussion with my client. Always be friends, talk to me. What is it? What can we change now? Doctor, I feel I'm down. Okay, go visit your friends, and this time take some 2 glasses of wine or drink. It's okay, because these are human beings. If you respect them without talking to them,
I'm going to church.
Okay, go to church. So some people say, I want to
go to the beach.
Yeah, go to the beach, have fun with your friends. Take away the
stress.
And don't feel out of place. There's something I found out with young girls that are having diabetes. They isolate themselves in response to stigma. Whenever they go, they say, I don't eat this, and people will say, we are in a sukari binotabi. So I usually also advise families and friends to people that are diabetic, keep it low. When someone is diabetic, know them, keep it low. Don't expose it always. And we are in a sukari, so you even begin to pamper them, they feel low. So most of them are facing a psychological problem because of we people living around them and they are diabetic. Now that is the hardest part in treating.
The torture you're putting
in them. So they should be also being treated as vulnerable people that are exposed to stigma because of the disease they are having. So we need to really, really help them out psychologically.
You're still watching Health and Wellness. Dr. Kawanda here said he's a teacher. Every doctor teaches. He's not a teacher by profession, he's a doctor by profession. We're talking about balanced diet, that is nutrition and diabetes, or diabetes and nutrition. We have talked about foods that we eat. Fats, what do they fall? There are people who love their meat, doctor. When you tell someone not to drink their cup of milk, their yogurt that have fats, how do they balance the fats when they have diabetes?
Remember, I told you that when we have a lot of glucose in the body, we are going to start producing lipids. So we have what we call the low density cholesterol and high density cholesterol. Now these are types of fat, and remember we said the body is going to take part by changing this glucose we have into different type of fat, which is cholesterol, which is going to store in the body. Now you're going to add more fat, you see. So you're going to top up on the fat that we have in the body. You're going to be exposed to getting a lot of complications. You are overweighing the body. This is what I usually tell people. Reduce the fat. Okay, don't stop, but reduce the fat. Or if you are going to consume the fat, make sure you're going to work out. the little piece of meat you want to take, or the little piece of what fatty food you're going to take, the little piece will take you a lot of exercise for around 30 minutes or 2 hours or days to pull out. Why
yes.
don't I just limit myself from taking this and I leave it out?
Abasukali ndoza tukawulidde.
And I leave
Akanyama
it out.
tukakendeeze oba tukate. Choose the struggle.
Kakendeeze, but it will again depend on the status of my patient. It will depend on the status of my patient.
Especially, I think also the age matters.
The age will matter.
Mukadde wange n'omugamba muzeeyi ennyama ng'ogiridde tugirekere kati bali abacajja oba naye omuleka n'akalya
asobola okubeera omuto naye ng'embeera yate embi nnyo koli omukulu. Kati wabanga muto tetujja tuyinza okubimugaana ebintu ebirala obulambo ne tubulimitingira ddala ku lw'embeera eriwo, but era nkugambye bwe ndaba ng'omuntu otandise okumujja ku bintu ebimu n'atandika okurespondinga gye ndi mu ngeri nti obulwadde bunfukidde obulwadde, ku lw'obutalekera kiri kyeggambye nsobola okumulekayo n'ensooka avoidinga ka stress nenwana ne kino mpola nga nzija mutegeeza bwe kirina okukola nga introducinga ne sitamutikka kintu ng'ate in pathology kigenda kuddamu kivuke na wasi nga mukase kiki
ne bw'osanga ng'ali worse, doctor.
bw'aba ng'ali wasi.
That's when you make the toughest decision.
Yeah, we may make toughest decision, but I want you to make the decisions. I'm going to be a teacher. Nga olaba objectives, nze ngenda kuterawo objectives golonde.
Okay.
Nkubulye nekijja okuva mu objectives gy'olonze. Ate obulamu obwo jjajja okuba sijja kubayo ng'omira eddagala. Naye kijja kunnuma nnyo ng'ofunye obuzibu ng'ate wamanya amazima. So I will educate you. Ku buli kimu nja kuwa obudde. At St. Peter's Hospital, we give more time to our patients than anything. Why? Wow. If a patient gets the right information, it's going to be simpler for me. Tewali kiruma musawo nga kujjanjaba mulwadde ng'obulamu bwe bweyongera kubeera bubi. Kyemalamu amaanyi nenyiga nange nenkaaba bulinga ngamba oba nze siri musawo mutuufu oba nze sibinnyonnyola bulungi.
Namwe bulijjo bibaluma.
Kiruma nnyo. Tewali musawo, wali abagala ssente naye waliwo abasawo nga balina passion nga tewakeera nkya n'osoma busobe busawo because we are wise in class, but it was your passion. Ofaayo eri omulwadde nti niwezi basawa mekoso ozuuka n'omunoonya n'omugamba oli otya. It becomes personal than just treating for your
Doctor, wayogedde ku a parent of a 10-year-old who has diabetes. This is a young girl.
Very, very young girl.
You talked about something that caught my attention. The supplements, the vitamins.
Yes.
So do diabetic people have vitamins? We have reached an era where you find 30-year-olds, they have started taking supplements to keep your body, not the acne, many other word. And my head, I'm like, doctor, they were diabetes now, but something like that as well.
There are really many supplements, even on the market, that diabetic people can take.
Okay.
But it is always dependent on the status of the patient, who the patient is. Some supplements are very expensive, some are user friendly. So I always want to talk to the patient that we make a decision together. If anyone wants to supplement, I'm doing well but I want to get complications, they can get to me. Let's have a talk. I look at the patient and I know what could be your budget. Say, oh doctor, at least I can have my 50,000 in a month to supplement. Someone will say, I want the best. Just give me the best. Yeah. So when we deal with the patients and recommending these supplements, we take all this in consciousness. I'm not just going to recommend something a patient cannot afford. So please, I want always to come to us, talk to us. Let's find the best supplementation for you. If you're not responding to treatment, can we change your treatment to another kind of treatment? Is the lifestyle given to you too hard for you? Can we make it simpler for you? So let's make all those designs. But all this depends on a particular patient. I want this to seek more in every patient. Every patient is treated in particular. Every patient is treated in particular. Every patient is treated in particular. So there is nothing like this diabetic people do this. No. There is this diabetic patient who is different from another diabetic patient. Their mode of life is different. Their ethnicity is different. For example, if someone is from, I'm going to say this, but I want it to, if someone is coming from the East and is an eater sort, their bodies are different. If they are diabetic, they will respond differently. Their food is different. If someone is coming from the West, these are totally different people. They are
because of the foods they're feeding.
The feeding, the nature, they are really different people. If someone is from the Central, they are totally different people. If it is a Sudanese, they are different people.
If it's white.
If they're white, they are different people. So we handle every patient in particular as that event, not in relation to anything else, but we handle each patient in particular.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doctor. Before we have, I think, close to 8 to 9 minutes or 7. If someone wants to navigate, you know, some of us have dinner dates, some of us have birthday parties, gatherings here and there. How do they navigate to feel like they are fitting in the society, so that no one, they don't get that attack of how can someone go and be normal and eat what is available? How do they navigate?
I have advised some young girls. There are some young girls are managing it, and they're still living their life, and I want you to know this. Keep your drugs in your bag.
Yes.
You can just set a standard. No one knows you're diabetic. Maybe your family cannot support you, but not everyone gets to know about your health status. Then you keep your standard. Hey guys, I don't eat this, I don't eat. You don't need to give them a reason why. I don't just like it. So when you go on the what do they call
dining,
it? On the dining
with different people.
You go and choose what your doctor told you. Sit. Someone I don't like it. Simple. Don't begin to explain yourself to be, I'm diabetic, my doctor, sorry, make you feel bad. And there is a girl who told me it's working. In fact, people call me this pick person, but they don't know that yet. I just go and pick, and if what's there is not, I will say no, I'll have this and have this or this, I will not eat the rest because this is what I do, this is what I eat. And this person leaving you because of course they are friends of yours you have. They have never told you a reason why they don't eat a particular food, and there is not even health background about it, but they don't eat a particular food. After a few times, will you still go and question why you don't eat this? No, they will fit in this society and they don't eat this. It is part of them. It's only for us that are wise sometimes. You see how someone prepares their plate. And then sometimes this is what I do. I call them and tell them, you're going to live longer. Keep it up. Then someone will know, wow, how did you notice? Say, no, I'm a doctor and I know you're living healthy life. Continue.
Before we sign out, why is the young generation having diabetes, doctor?
We are exposed to a lot of things. Generations are changing. People are smoking. People are taking a lot of drugs. This is the same explanation why I have a lot of cancer is increasing. Lifestyle has changed. We are losing a lot of chemicals in our body. We are eating a lot of packaged food, a lot of processed food. All this is exposing the body. We are not exercising. We are living recklessly. So this is why it is. In fact, if you meet 20 people, at least 8 of them might be diabetic. Yes, so this is why diabetes is increasing. People are not healthy. Then for the children, it is coming from organogenesis, the process of which our organs are formed when we are in our mother's bodies. Some lifestyles our parents go through and how they live will expose us as we grow up. So when they are giving birth, they find themselves having issues with the pancreas. And it is hard to detect that the child is diabetes because most times you less expect a child of 10 years to be diabetic.
Very true.
You treat other things. He's weak, he's having all these laziness. You don't understand. You do all tests is okay until you do this. Maybe RDS, maybe glycolated hemoglobin. Then you find, this person is diabetic, and it is too tricky to deal with a child with diabetes. They life eating whatever they want, so they need to go to a lot of advice. It's stressing to the mom. That's why they can pick them out at school because the teachers wish even
they're not being children.
And being children, they think, that doesn't eat this, so that kind of troubles them a lot. So I have seen this in many children that have diabetes, and the best thing is advice. Talk to the doctor, advise this young child, because this is now the worst that can ever happen to them. Being diabetic, and then you're having these issues on your way.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kawanda Matia. He's a medical practitioner. We've been discussing about diabetes and nutrition. If you want to find him, you can go to St. Peter's Hospital, that is in Chanja. Yes, Saura Devasukad. You can You can meet them. And do remember, Bethany, here we have a Christmas bonanza, a Christmas campaign that is going on. Make sure to always tune in and win yourself goodies as we are approaching the festive season. From me and the team would like to wish you a very good night. Do remember, tomorrow is Sunday. Go to church and pray and thank the living God. For now, good night.